When it comes to choosing a curriculum for your homeschool, there are so many choices. It feels like there are like 14,000 choices that you could make when it comes to homeschool curriculum. And maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but there are a lot, and it can be really overwhelming, especially if you're new to homeschooling. And I have made some really bad curriculum decisions over the years. Really bad. So I'm going to share with you 5 tips for choosing a homeschool curriculum, so hopefully you don't make some of those same bad decisions. Hi, I'm Jess from the blog siloandsage.com, and I'm here to help you cultivate your home with all things homeschool, homestead, and handmade. And today we are going to talk about curriculum because it can be really overwhelming to think about all the different choices there are for homeschool curriculum. And I am a mom of 5, and we have been homeschooling since the beginning, over a decade. My oldest is 14, and we've had to choose from a lot of curriculum options, and we have made some bad decisions over the years, like just really bad. So I'm hoping that today, by giving you some tips for choosing a homeschool curriculum for your family, that you will avoid some of the things that I did wrong. The first tip is to choose a curriculum that matches your family's priorities and values. It is really important for you to maintain the values and priorities for your family and your homeschool. Let me give you a couple examples. So if your family does not really value screen time, choosing an online curriculum really is not going to be a good fit for you. If you really want your kids to be doing hands-on learning, choosing a lot of workbooks is not going to be a good fit for you. If you need your kids to be a little bit more independent because maybe you work from home and you want to be balancing working from home and homeschooling, it probably is not going to be wise for you to choose a curriculum that requires you to do a lot of the teaching yourself. So when you're thinking about a curriculum, you need to balance these priorities and these values. Our family really values things like, we value our faith and we want that to be an integral part of our education. We value really good quality books and we want books to be kind of the center of everything that we do. We value hands-on learning and life experiences. We really value getting outside in nature and spending time outside, being active and hiking and learning about nature by being out in nature. So these are just some things that we value, and so we make these a priority in our homeschool and in our curriculum. And these might not be the same values as yours. You might have completely different values than we do in our family, and that's okay. But think about what it is that you value in your home and in your homeschool and what you want to prioritize. Leave a comment below and tell me some of the things that you value and that you want to prioritize, whether you are homeschooling now or not. Tip number 2, choose a curriculum that considers your kids' needs, but also considers your needs. So if you, like I said before, if you are working at home, you want to consider a curriculum that is less hands-on for you so that your kids can be a little bit more independent, right? But if you have a child who is a very hands-on learner and they really need to manipulate things, staring at a screen is probably not going to be a very good option for them. Do you have an infant at home and you need to work around their schedule? If you have little ones at home, I have a video about homeschooling with toddlers and preschoolers, and we even talk a little bit about infants. So I'm going to link that video and you can watch that one too, and that will give you some good pointers for that. But you need to consider how you will work with the curriculum as well as your kids, because if you dread the curriculum that you're using, even if your kids, like it's working fine for your kids, but you just dread doing it every day, you're not going to want to do it. And likewise, if your kids dread doing it, even if you think it's very like idyllic for your family and you just love how the curriculum is laid out, if your kids hate it, they are not going to want to do it, and you are going to be fighting your kids every step of the way, and it's not worth it. So consider both your needs and your kids' needs when you're looking at homeschool curriculum. This third thing is really important, but a lot of people don't think about this. do you really need a curriculum to teach this particular subject or topic? Not everything actually requires a curriculum. You do not need a textbook or a printable or a laid out curriculum for every single thing that you teach. Your kids can learn a lot from a field trip, a documentary, just a book that they get from the library or from your bookshelf. You can learn a lot just by watching a YouTube video, right? You can find so many different ways for your kids to learn things, and we often think that our kids need to have a textbook or a curriculum or some sort of test or an assessment to prove that they have learned something. But the truth is that homeschooling is so much more than that. And there are so many other ways for your kids to learn something. We have done a lot of art in our homeschool, but we have never purchased any formal art curriculum. We have a lot of books, and we have a lot of like how to draw animals or books on different art techniques, and we use different YouTube videos, but we've never purchased an art curriculum because it just hasn't been necessary for us. We could if we wanted to, but for us, we just haven't needed it. So think about whether or not you actually need a curriculum for the thing that you're trying to teach. Now, when you do come across a curriculum that interests you, before you press buy, download a sample or watch a YouTube video that has a review, find a copy from a friend so that you can see it in person, because it is the worst feeling ever. I know this feeling. I've totally been here. When you buy a curriculum, especially one that is really expensive, and then it turns out to be just a terrible, terrible fit for you and your family. So looking at samples or reviews can really help you to see what the curriculum is really like. If the curriculum you're looking at is from a larger company, they probably have a Facebook group as well, and you can ask some questions within the Facebook group, or find a hashtag on Instagram that you can follow to find different people on Instagram that are using that particular curriculum, and it will help you decide if it is going to work for your family or if it won't. Tip number 5 is to be okay with changing your mind and putting the curriculum aside if it doesn't work. At some point, you could be in the middle of your curriculum and realize that it's not working for your family. It might be that it's not working for a particular child, your whole family, or just for you. But you may come to the point, you probably will come to the point with some curriculum that you realize this isn't going to work anymore. Maybe it was working and something changed in your lifestyle, in your family dynamics, you had a baby, your husband took a different job, whatever the circumstances may be, maybe your kids just developed and suddenly this curriculum, they've zoomed past it and it's no longer relevant for them. It is always better to walk away from a curriculum that isn't working than stick with it just because it's something that you purchased. Now, I know that this can be a hard pill to swallow, especially if you have spent a lot of money on a curriculum. Now, if you watched my video on 5 things you should know before you start homeschooling, you probably saw that I do not recommend purchasing an entire year's worth of curriculum, especially a curriculum that's new to you, or if you are just new to homeschooling. And here is why. You don't really know what is going to work for your kids until you try it, right? You didn't know you wouldn't go out and buy a new food for your child if you didn't know that they liked it, right? You wouldn't go buy like boxes and boxes of this new kind of macaroni if you thought your kids didn't like it, right? You wouldn't go and buy cans and cans of a soup if you didn't think your kids were going to eat it. You would maybe buy one and then you would try it out first, right? And then if they do like it, and then you'd go and buy more. It's the same for curriculum, especially a curriculum kit where you're buying like everything all together and you're spending a lot of money at one time. You want to make sure that your kids like it. So instead of buying a ton of it at a time, see if you can buy a small portion. Now, there are some curriculum out there that you can't just buy a small portion. So maybe you can see if you can buy it used instead of buying it brand new, or just see if you can download a sample like we talked about before so that you can see if it works for you. But there is really nothing worse than spending hundreds of dollars on a curriculum that ends up not working for your family. totally done that. Now, here's the last thing I want to tell you. That was actually not one of my 5 tips, but I thought it was important to talk about anyway. There will always be a new curriculum to try. Always. That bright and shiny object syndrome, you ever heard of that? Or like the whole grass is greener on the other side thing? There's always going to be some of that. It is legit when it comes to homeschool curriculum, especially with the internet and having Instagram and YouTube where you can constantly see what other people are doing in their homeschools. You are going to get that like, oh, I like what they're doing. Maybe I want to try it. And there may be some really good reasons to change curriculum. Like whatever it is that you are doing, there could be something out there that is better. Absolutely. And there you might have a great reason for switching to another curriculum, and totally do it. If there is something else that is going to work better for your family, definitely give it a try and definitely make a switch. But I just want to caution you against just like flipping from curriculum to curriculum to curriculum, or like every year trying something new just because something new has come out, or just because a friend says, hey, I'm using this curriculum and you would probably like it. Instead of just like making those switches all the time, try to stick to a curriculum that is working for a little bit of time, because it will help your kids like form good habits and develop routine, and it will keep them from being confused with different teaching styles and methods when you're constantly switching back and forth. Now, it definitely doesn't mean, do not misunderstand me, definitely does not mean you should never switch curriculum, because I really do think that there are often reasons that it is really important, but just make sure that it's not that you are bored. If you're just bored with the curriculum, find some other ways in your homeschool that you can kind of like spice things up or add a little fun or add some like different things to your routine or your schedule instead of just switching your curriculum if it is working for your kids. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. And if you know a friend who is homeschooling or thinking about homeschooling or considering a curriculum change in their homeschool, I would love it if you would share this video with them and maybe they would find it helpful too. Now, please subscribe to this channel so that you never miss another video. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.